What can I say? Sometimes it's easier that way. And what can I do?
The amazing Ian Man.
That's not that amazing.
He was posing in an awkward way that only dumb heroes do.
Big dumb heroes?
Yeah, you don't see villains making awkward poses like that.
Villains like the dramatic. Let me explain my plan to you.
Being a villain is super fun. That's the lesson. You know?
Seems super fun.
Anyway, you had another discussion you wanted to propose.
Well, it's a different day because I have a different hat. I totally didn't just walk over and change my hat.
It's posted on a different day, so let's say it's a different day.
Alright.
I'm gross and wore the same shirt.
I'm gross and don't shower.
I've just washed mine since then.
No awkward transition this time. Our theme song was Brandy What Can I Say by Brandy Robinson.
Beautiful graffiti.
Yep, album Beautiful for Graffiti, available on Bandcamp, and her YouTube channel is Brandy Robinson Music.
Give it a look, the stuff's addictive.
Unofficially non-contracted agreement fulfilled. Because basically all we said was, hey, can we use this music? And she said, yes, as long as I'm credited.
Yep.
And so we credit it.
To be fair, I'm like one of the few people on Bandcamp who's actually shilled money for her album, so which you should totally do, because artists need food.
We find that most people do. But artists especially, they need that to create, I guess.
I would assume. Although there's the term starving artist.
Yeah.
So I guess if they're starving, maybe they are better artists?
I don't know.
That makes them work harder to get the money so they can pay for food. Anyway.
Well, I guess the term is starving artist, not starved to death artist.
Yeah.
So, plowing ahead.
That's what she said.
No. She never said that.
You're right.
This topic. Your favorite superhero or villain group, and why?
Danger Patrol because they're fun.
You can even single out favorite heroes if you
They are
desire, or
kind-
villains if you
The Danger
desire.
Patrol are kind of,
Not this
fun weird.
Not this stupid Danger Patrol that's on the DC series where Cyborg's a member for some stupid.
They already have Robot Man.
Yeah,
it's redundant.
No, it should be Beast Boy.
But he was on the short-lived Titans. That wasn't.
Oh, that one's not coming back, is it?
I don't think
Okay.
so. Probably not. But the Teen Titans happen to be Linkara's favorite team.
Which incarnation?
Yes,
Okay.
he did an entire history of the Titans special at one point.
But yes, my favorite is Doom Patrol, which had Elastigirl before Pixar did, and Incredibles.
That being said, I do like the Incredibles. It's like the good Fantastic Four.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, only they're all related
Yeah,
instead of Ben.
they went all in on the family dynamic thing. Fantastic Four only went halfway in.
That's what she said.
I guess.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought. Yeah, the Incredibles is a good team. As far as villain teams, I will say probably one of my favorite villain teams is the Brotherhood of Evil.
Brotherhood of Evil's alright. Is the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants still?
X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants is one of those things where the membership is so fluid. There are some really great teams and some really bad teams.
That you almost get that with the Injustice League.
Yeah.
Yeah, their first incarnation was pretty good because they actually had the Justice League on the ropes.
It's like, what? Villains teaming up to have an even number with us? That's not fair!
What's the name of the Avengers villain group team? The ones that are usually led by Zemo?
That would be the Masters?
Yeah, they
Masters of Evil?
the Masters of Evil.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a pretty good team. I like Baron Zemo with his
Yeah.
glue gun.
When it's not Zemo, it's Doom leading the Masters of Evil. Usually.
The problem with Doom's Masters of Evil is Doom is too much of an egotist to let any of them share.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's the New Gods of Apocalypse. That's a pretty good villain team.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Darkseid's the big bad, but come on, his Nazi general dude?
That's not. It's not Desaad. Desaad is his
No,
like
Desaad
mad
is
scientist or whatever.
Yeah.
Calabac is his savage son.
Yes.
Who is the general?
Oh man, I cannot remember his name.
I can remember Granny Goodness.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to make. Of course, everybody knows his best ally, which is Granny Goodness.
And her female Furies.
She is kind of terrifying.
Don't worry, Granny will take good care of you. Now that does worry me. That worries me a lot. That's
Well,
like the most worrisome thing.
I find that very alarming.
Quite. Well, Steppenwolf was his general in a lot of stories.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Steppenwolf tends to be a character who appears, does something for a short period of time, and then is moitered.
I'll tell you a good superhero team. The A-Team with Mr. T.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Because
Yeah,
I do not believe for 1 second that any of those people are normal humans.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, what makes a superhero team? Because, like Dale mentioned on the pre-topic, the Crime Busters. None of them had powers except for Manhattan.
That's true. That's true.
And let's be honest, with BA's jewelry, you can't say they don't have a unique look to them.
They do.
Yeah.
Let's see. Superhero teams.
Why don't you give us some, Dale?
Well, like I was saying before this started, I like the Watchmen. They seem a little more in tune with the real world. And yes, they get to have sex.
The evil's about, you better watch out for the Watchmen.
Yeah.
That was such a great idea from Harry Partridge. They really should have, taken away all the bad stuff from the Watchmen, all the like not safe for children stuff from the Watchmen, and made an '80s cartoon.
Well, if you read the comic, in it they talk about Ozymandias marketing the
Yes.
Crime Busters for like action figures and stuff. So I imagine that his
you would have made a Saturday morning cartoon.
Happy Harry Watchmen is canonical in the universe. It's the series within the series that Adrian Vett made.
I like it. Like it.
So that's my headcanon. Was that he's like, hey, this is the, because he was a businessman. You got any favorite villain teams, Dale?
Probably the Lex Luthors in
Le-
Justice League.
Wouldn't that be the Legion of Doom?
Well, he had a Legion of Doom. He
Well,
was,
it's been actually Luthor's led several
I know.
villain teams.
I know.
he has led Legion of Doom. I know for a
He's
at
done
least-
in Justice League.
Yeah, at least
Yeah, they
has
they even had a satellite of their own, opposite the Justice Leagues.
Didn't he also lead the Injustice Society or whatever it's called?
Maybe. Because there was that was a parallel to the Justice Society.
Yeah.
Justice Society.
You know
in
what?
America.
I'm gonna drop that. I like the Justice Society with like Hawkman and Hourman and
The original.
who was the dude with the the smoke bomb. He could see in the dark, and he had the smoke bombs.
Captain Midnight.
Captain Midnight.
Captain Midnight.
That's such a that is like Captain Midnight. That's such a cool idea. He can't see in the light. He has night vision, so he has these like grenades that create these blanks of darkness, so they can't see and he can see. That's just such a creative use of a.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, the guy was legally blind, so the guy he literally needed those goggles to see because.
Yeah.
And he called himself Captain Midnight, and his actual name was Mick Knight.
We hadn't mentioned the Avengers yet.
Avengers and Justice League are just, they're so common that it's almost kind of
Right.
a cheat to talk about
But you still kind of have to mention some of the first superhero teams ever.
The first incarnation of the Avengers, Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not Captain America, he came in issue 3.
Yes.
4.
Was it 4?
Three,
Oh.
four. Speaking of 4, with the Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
but, you know,
I've never been a Fantastic Four fan. What about Hulk and the Agents of Smash?
oh please! What about the Defenders? If you wanted Hulk so much,
I like the
Yeah.
Defenders.
it was like let's put the most OP, ridiculous people together in one group.
Doctor Strange, the Silver Surfer, the Incredible Hulk,
And Namor.
and Namor.
I mean, not against Namor, but we were comparing him against those 3. These are universe-breaking individuals.
And then you have Aquaman with wing feet.
Yeah.
Which means he could fly and break all sorts of the laws of physics.
Yeah, he can fly.
Actually, a fun character.
He can fly and he can lift a boat, and that's really super cool. Hulk can tear mountains in half. Doctor Strange can rewrite reality, and Silver Surfer has the power of cosmic. Why are you here, Namor? Why are you here? Well, what if we have to go underwater? Well, Doctor Strange will just magic up air bubbles. Why are you here, Namor?
I think it's almost more along the lines of we have him because, first off, 3 is an awkward number to call ourselves a team.
Yeah.
And also, we have him here to constantly keep an eye on him so he isn't causing any trouble.
That's fair. Namor does have a bad history of, like,
trying to attacking the surface world.
He gets invasion-y.
Yeah.
No, you're part of the Defenders, Namor. You do a good job. You do a good job.
Oh, another power he has that they don't touch on much. Like the eels he rules over. He can generate a nasty electric shock when he gets one.
It's still, when you're talking power levels there.
Yeah.
For him, he
Yeah.
has pet fish. So does Josh.
Yeah. Okay. Just because this is such a ridiculous concept, I still love them. The Howling Commandos.
No, they werewolves.
They are S.H.I.E.L.D.'s special paranormal team. They're all monsters.
Oh, okay.
Well, now they are.
Yes.
Originally.
The original Howling.
Yeah.
That's why I emphasize the howl part,
Okay.
to emphasize I'm talking about them.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Howling Commandos. I think he's led by Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Frankencastle.
No.
They're the ones who put him back together as Frankencastle.
Oh, okay.
So he could join them.
Over on DC, and also villains, but sort of related, the Monster Society.
Yes!
Mon-
Mr. Mind's Monster Society.
Yep.
Well, DC has something along the lines of the Howling Commandos. They have, I think, the Creature Commandos. They work out of
I do like alliteration.
Yeah.
I like that better.
They do work out of a spatial section of Argus.
Alright.
Fucking Argus. Cause more trouble name. Although I have to admit, like the version of Argus that's generally called, I'm familiar with Argus being called Cadmus, but I kind of agree with them.
Yeah.
You have a satellite with a laser pointing down.
Yeah, that, the citizens are scared of all these powered people.
Yeah. Let's see.
Man, you didn't tell us you had a weapon of mass destruction up there?
Yeah.
Okay, Okay, the Legion. The Legion of Superheroes. Your future interstellar network with their strange rules.
I'm not sure I've ever read a Legion comic that wasn't a recruitment comic. That seems to be all they do is sit around recruiting new heroes.
Oh, they're one of my favorites. I read them a lot back in the 80s. They were... The artist and writer actually came up with a futuristic alphabet for this book.
I've actually never read a Legion of Superheroes comics proper. I know they actually have some really good ones. I just know the meme versions where it's like, "What's your superpower? I can change colors of things." Yeah, okay, you get to be part of the reserve Legion.
The Legion of Substitute Heroes.
Legion of Substitute Heroes.
I wanted to make a villainous team of nothing but nuisance villains. And it's called them, like, the Bastards. They're just around to be generally annoying.
I have a great superhero team we haven't talked about.
Oh?
The Awesomes.
Oh, the Awesomes,
Yeah.
what was that, Hulu
Hulu
original
series.
Yeah.
The Awesomes were kind of neat. A little bit of the misfit heroes, but at the same time, their power output was actually pretty impressive. You got
Brock.
Brock.
Who is super smart.
Yes, he
And-
is beyond human intelligence.
And
definitely.
also can freeze time for about 10 seconds.
Yeah, he keeps that power a secret though.
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Because
You can't hold it longer than 10 seconds.
because
It
the
damages him.
longer you stay in time freeze, the more stress it puts on your brain, and he starts to get nosebleeds and stuff.
Yeah.
It's actually how there was one
villain who started stealing powers. They're like, you could freeze time? Why does he use this all the time?
This is like the best. And he starts monologuing in the time freeze. So Proc is like, yeah, the thing about freezing time is,
And the guy passes out.
Yep.
It starts to hurt.
Because he unfroze himself while the guy was monologuing and he overtaxed himself.
Yeah.
I like Concierge, who's a superhero. Her superpower is she has like hyper organizational skills. Like she can see something and immediately just like organize all the elements in her mind.
All of the first season, she was just a secretary.
Thus the name Concierge.
Then they finally figured out how she could just organize everything, including tactics.
Yep.
So they put her in charge of strategy and tactics.
Yep.
Basically.
Okay, but since you guys made me think of, the more ridiculous superhero teams that have been done for laughs, DC had, back in the 60s, the Inferior Five.
Inferior 5. I've
They were
heard
all-
of them, but I don't know what
I
they
haven't even heard of them.
They were all legacy heroes.
Nice.
They all had parents who were in this World War II supergroup.
The Blackhawks?
No, it was unique to the
Okay.
comics, to the group. Their parents, they all had one or more parents in this group, so their parents more or less forced them to be heroes. Now, to be fair, they did have power. Some of them had actual powers, like Blimp Man. He could inflate himself and float around like a human balloon. You had to have someone to tow him or push him though, because he couldn't generate any motive power of his own.
I guess you could get like strap a big fan to his back.
Yeah.
And they had their archer, White Feather, so called because the guy had every phobia you can think of. He was afraid of everyone and everything. Their de facto leader, because he was the smartest one, was a guy called himself the Jester. And they had their two muscles. Awkward Man. Superman if he was a total klutz.
Okay.
This guy could trip over the cracks in the floor here. He caught the bad guys mostly by letting them get caught up in the collateral damage he created everywhere. And then there was the girl of the group, Dumb Bunny.
Oh boy.
Couldn't get away with her today because of all the women's rights would flay you alive. She dressed like a Playboy bunny,
Oh, boy.
even the ears. And she wasn't really strong, but she was like totally invulnerable. They said she was dense in more ways than
Oh
one.
boy. The 60s were a different time.
I know.
Oh
I
man.
know.
Oh boy.
Well, I don't think I
And
can.
these characters were so bad, they did some Marvel takeoffs. They met a nerdy little scientist who would Hulk out when he got ticked off, and the hip, cool, happening group of young people who happened to be mutants. But they were so bad that the other DC heroes got mad at them and went on strike. And also, finally, then this was in the book, the DC staff went on strike for having to write and draw these people.
Well, I can't really top that, but a PlayStation 1 era
Oh
game,
my god. Cyber 9?
Wild 9.
Wild 9.
Yeah, once I said PlayStation
I
1,
knew
you
it.
knew I was talking about Wild 9.
I loved Wild 9.
I can't remember every member, but they were all amazing. Amazingly, like, awkwardly bad. But the only decent one was their leader, Rig, who had a special, like, gauntlet that made a tractor beam that he could just grab and toss stuff or hold in the air or, yeah.
I like the one that became crystalline when exposed to direct sunlight.
Oh, I forget that one's name.
I think it was something like crystal or something.
Something like that, but direct sunlight turns into
A diamond statue.
Yeah.
Unbreakable diamond statue. But she can't move when she's in direct sunlight.
Yeah.
Which
So
is
the whole-
which is where Rig comes in.
Yeah, he moves her. Because he could.
I mean, there was one guy who explodes at the very, very slightest, like, impact.
Yeah, he blows up all the time. Then you had Pocket. Pocket was a little tiny, like, blue alien thing who had, like, interdimensional pockets on his clothing. He could reach in there and produce items. Is never what you want. And most likely...
My cat.
And most likely, not even what you need. The example was, you could be in the middle of the desert and pull out a battle tank.
Yeah.
Or, you could be in a war zone and pull out a glass of water.
That's why you gotta be creative with what you get.
Exactly. It's you don't know what you're going to get, but it's usually, it is not at all what you need the most.
Man, I don't even remember any of the other ones.
Well, there was the Tartan Spartan. I guess she was okay. But, she was a legacy character. Her father was the original Tartan Spartan. Basically a Scottish Superman. Well, she inherited the magic, kilt and gear and that. And she had all the same powers, but she goes wildly berserk. That's the problem. She just attacks anything. And is super reckless. So the whole idea in the levels where you had her is you aimed her in the right direction, then had to corral her.
I think that was the problem with the character. After the smoke clears, you have to get her to settle down.
Mm-hmm.
Kinda like the Hulk.
But I think that's probably why Rig was such a great leader for the entire group, because he's able, just being, competent, decently intelligent, and having that force field gauntlet just allowed him to manage the entire team. And so yeah, I kind of really enjoyed Wild 9. Thank you for remembering a lot more of them than I did.
Well, I remembered 2 and you remembered 2.
Yeah,
So,
ultimately that's 5. There were 4 missing.
yeah, I don't remember any of them because it's been so long since I've played Wild 9.
Have to dig it out and go around.
I don't think I have a copy of it.
We could probably look it up sometime, but not during this discussion.
That's cheating.
Yeah.
Doing research. You hear that? Any of you college students trying to write a paper? Doing research is cheating.
Or doing research during your presentation is cheating.
Nope. Education of any form is cheating. Stay dumb, kids. I'm a good role model, and I have kids.
They're not the stars of the show, but we're going back to the Legion of Superheroes. You had the Science Police.
Oh yeah. Combination police and military for the United Planets.
Are they anything like the vegan police in Scott Pilgrim?
Not at all.
They were good at their job.
Vegan police seem to be pretty good at their job too.
Yeah, they brought down veggie law pretty well.
Yeah. When the vegan decided to drink milk, they came in and took his vegan powers from him.
Yeah, that's what happened. It was just a joke, but it was a joke team that spanned comic book companies, and
Those two detective dudes.
the interdimensional hipster police. It's like between DC and Marvel and I think some third-party companies as well. If you look in the background of certain issues,
Yeah.
you see the same two police officers in the background. I was like, and the running gag was they hop dimensions and do some things behind the scenes. Eventually, they ruined the joke because it was an in-joke amongst comic book artists. Well, at one point, one of the companies ruined the joke by having like a 1 or 2 actual issue comic for these guys.
Yeah, boo.
Ruined the joke.
When was it? In the 70s or?
2000s era.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a relatively newer thing.
But I love the joke because it spanned companies. They never said a word about it. Once fans started to notice and the internet got to hold of it, then they ruined the joke.
Can we call the Power Rangers a superhero team?
I would.
Yeah.
Any,
Why not?
any of the incarnations, they're all good.
Mighty Morphin and Jungle Fury would probably be my favorites.
Okay.
I like Jungle Fury because I'm into kung fu stuff.
It's like, you gotta say Mighty Morphin is one of the best ones.
Well, you can't.
They were
top,
definitely the longest running.
Yeah, and you can't top the originals.
Yeah. I mean, some could argue you could, but...
And then Carl likes in space.
In space!
In space!
Well, it was in space and Lost Galaxy ended the...
Zordon era.
Yeah, the connected arc. I think it was in Lost Galaxy that finally put an end to all the connected stories.
And RPM. I liked RPM. That was a super dark one, right? RPM?
I think so. I liked Lightspeed Rescue. They were rescue vehicles, and they were fighting demons.
Yeah.
Just straight up demons. Released from ancient seals fighting demons.
Is that the one that had the main character who would just like go into battles guns first?
Oh yeah, he was great.
Huh. Like Jonah Hex.
It was like,
It's like Zordon's like, do not escalate a fight, and he's just like, guns for...
Now he didn't go in morphed. He just comes in with his standard guns first.
None of this karate crap. I take care of
He was
business.
like, bam, bam. He was doing what everyone else is doing. Hiya! He's doing gun katas. And it's like...
Oh, like the old Hong Kong
Like the
gun fu movies.
The Woo movies, yeah.
Yeah, they called them gun fu because everybody would pull guns and they'd be doing, I think they'd twirl them and do stuff with them and
Yeah.
be shooting people behind them and
Gun katas.
Yep, John Woo was famous for that. Guns akimbo, gun in each hand. You can't hit anything if you've got a gun in each hand.
Also, the kickback on those pistols.
But I guess the idea of guns akimbo is if you spray enough bullets, you're gonna hit something. It's lots of averages.
yeah.
Spray and pray.
Well, it's also known as suppressive fire. Everybody's too busy ducking to return
Yeah,
fire. so
suppressive fire.
that's what they say. They said about Jonah Hex. He would simply shoot until there was no one left to shoot back.
It's amazing how few villain teams there are.
It's because villains are just that more powerful.
And they're also egotistical. And
Villains tend not to work together for very long.
Yeah, egos get involved.
unless you get some that really work, like Captain America's bad guy, Batroc the Leaper.
Well, he'll work for anyone who has money.
Yeah, stupid name, but he's so good at Savate.
I love Batroc.
He put teams together. He calls them Batroc's Brigades. And the last one he put together back in the 80s, they were really good, and he kept them together. They actually could work together.
Speaking of another fluid team of villains I like, the Sinister Six.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it changes a lot, but yeah.
According to Spider-Man, all combined, they maybe have half a brain.
That's a perfect example. They're all formidable, but the problem is Spidey always outwits them because they cannot work very organized.
Yeah.
And he tends to usually have the others take themselves out.
Well, of the most common members, but the only two that are like really smart are Mysterio and Octopus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, not that Craven's dumb, he's just very single-minded. And of course, Rhino's just dumb muscle.
yeah.
Scorpion's just dumb muscle.
It's like, if you're going to form a version...
And who's the sixth one? The Beetle?
it
And
changes.
it changes, 'cause
Okay,
The
right.
team's
Sandman's
always...
been a member.
Oh,
Aquaman has been...
Aquaman.
Oh, well,
Hydro Man.
Hydro Man.
Yeah.
And for damn sake, if you're going to make a Sinister Six team that's going to have Sandman in it, don't also include Hydro Man,
Yeah.
because this always happens.
They get combined.
Yes, and it always messes both of them up.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
The first time it happened, I think Sandman actually tried to he went good. He tried to reform.
In more ways than one.
Because he's made of sand, he's a shape changer. I got the joke, Josh, I got it.
I got it. It was just like, I'm used to this stuff.
Let's see. I know there were ridiculous teams that only existed once, usually as a joke. I remember on Teen Titans Go there was something I actually enjoyed. It was The Academy. It was literally just them knocking at the Oscars. The behind-the-scene villains that were... So you had comedy and tragedy, and then the Oscar himself were the team, and they were just this hierarchy that was just beating down the Titans.
Well, what did they become? The League of Legs?
Yeah, the League of Legs, Lady Legacy, the Quad. Captain Quad.
Yes.
The Lady Legacy, Captain Quad.
I don't remember all their names.
The Calf. Beast Boy was the Calf. Thunder Thigh. I think it was Thunder Thighs.
Probably.
I couldn't remember all of them, but they're all leg based.
Yep.
The power of them legs.
Yep.
It was something Cankle.
Oh,
I don't remember.
jeez.
But anyway.
Oh. Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
I don't hate Teen Titans Go, fight me.
I don't hate Teen Titans Go. Oh. Well, speaking of something I do hate, tied to something I do love,
Mm-hmm.
it's also a super team, yeah, I guess. The Thundercats.
Oh yeah.
I don't care for Roar.
Thunder cats.
Yep. Thunder, 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 thunder scares them. Yeah.
Okay, since you tipped it in that direction.
Yeah.
He-Man, She-Ra, their respective little groups they put together and worked with.
Oh yes, the Masters of the Universe, which are basically He-Man, She-Ra, and Bit players. But you know how it is. I want to respect Man-at-Arms, Many Faces, all these different... Fisto.
I don't know if Fisto was a villain.
Fisto's hero.
Oh.
Yeah, he's one of...
Man Ram.
Oh. Are you sure? There's absolutely no gay undertones in that.
No.
Well, you know, it's a muscular, shirtless man trying to beat a skeleton back into his closet, so, you know. Not gay at all.
Oh.
The Ronin Warriors, but that's all.
Oh my god, the Ronin Warriors! I actually tried to see if they were on Netflix today and they're not.
That's sad. But, you know, like, all of the Power Rangers knockoffs.
Yeah.
Because Ronin Warriors was basically that. Mummies Alive.
Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Big Bad Beetleborgs. VR Troopers.
Tattooed Teenage Alien.
I loved tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills because the villain was not an idiot.
Yeah. They had an explanation for why he could only send one at a time. He always drew the monster back before it was killed so he could use it again.
Like a good commander.
Yeah, this guy... Yeah, he had some... he had a
I mean,
clue.
it was a weird show, but it wasn't that bad.
The Battletoads.
Oh, the Battletoads.
They're good. They were good on...
Video game.
Yeah.
The video game was good. The cartoon was not.
Yeah, they are good on as a concept. They basically were, hey, let's have alien shape-shifting toads that basically life field powers.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's the one you said they only had one episode?
Yes,
Yes.
the cartoon was only one episode, and it was bad.
Well, the cartoon was weird because, like, the aliens came to Earth and they turned, like, 3 90s cool kids into Battletoads instead of just being 3 alien toad monster things.
Or in the original comic, based off of the gut thing, 3 computer nerds who developed a game so hard, so impossibly hard, they could not be beaten, then get sucked into their own game and became... So yes, the difficulty of the NES Battletoads is actually canonical. So, how about that? Yeah, the Battletoads, they would actually wheel up to punch somebody, and their fist would grow to twice their body size. Just boom, giant fist.
They do like a running headbutt and their head would turn into a football helmet.
Or actual ram horns.
Ram horns.
Or, it's like they'd be swinging from a rope and turn into a wrecking ball. Because they're shapeshifters. And, you know...
Well, this actually sounds like pretty cool.
Yeah, they were pretty cool.
They were pretty cool. The cartoon was just dumb. The cartoon just tried too hard to make it like too much of like a 90s let's relate to the cool kids.
I will spray you with the genetic essence of the Battletoads.
I remember. that line.
Ew! Space Toad Splooge!
Why would you phrase it like that?
I don't
Why would
know.
you say I'm gonna
Genetic essence? What else could it fucking be?
Not just that I'm gonna spray you with the genetic.
You couldn't say, I'm going to cover you
I'm going to use
This
Battletoad.
formula!
I'm going to use Battletoad genomes to mutate you.
Yeah, I'm going to use Battletoad's DNA to,
But while we're on the topic of such things, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And of course the Foot Clan.
Yes. The two good teams, same franchise. You know, when they're not written stupid. I
Yeah.
love the Foot Clan. But the Turtles, usually in almost every continuity, the Turtles are all awesome.
Yeah.
Even this new one was on.
I haven't watched much of the new Nickelodeon series, but it didn't seem that bad.
Called The Rise of the Turtles, I
Something
think.
like that. And it gave Leo a dimension-hopping Nodachi.
Oh yeah.
You can cut portals in reality and teleport. It's like, jeez.
On the topic of Power Ranger knockoffs, though, I got one for you.
Yeah?
Probably one of your favorites.
Yeah?
The Mystic Knights of Tir na Nog.
Oh, I love this.
Oh, that show was cool.
Yeah.
I will admit.
That show was cool.
It opened up for a second season that was actually... It was an interesting opening. And then it didn't show up.
Fire within me, earth beneath me, sky above me, water around me, force before me.
Yep, you remember them.
I do remember all of them.
Based heavily off of Irish myth, which I loved. And the more comic end of things, the Road Rovers.
Ah, Road Rovers. We're just rehashing my Ninja Turtles knockoff thing at this point.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
He did get on that whole thing. Which inevitably led to the Samurai Pizza Cats.
Yes. Well, who you gonna call if you want some pepperoni?
Yeah.
Biker Mice from Mars.
I do not remember the Biker Mice from Mars that well.
Yeah, but that was part of the Turtles discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Same
Yeah,
with the
and,
Real Cowboys. And
I'm trying to think of some more superhero teams.
I seem to remember there was a really ridiculous team of like 7 from Hanna-Barbera or something.
Maybe?
I don't remember what they were called. I do now suddenly remember the Super Globetrotters.
Oh,
There you go. Oh my.
Super Globetrotters!
Oh my.
That was so dumb.
I know. I know.
What's your power? I have a giant basketball head that is a basketball so it bounces.
Well, then one guy's... Let's see. One guy's superpowers, he's springy limbs, right?
Something like that.
I don't remember.
It basically, like, I'm not sure how well you'd be as a superhero. I just know that all these abilities would help you be more impossible to beat at basketball.
Because they needed it.
Yeah, they already were impossible to beat at basketball. Go to any Globetrotter game, they always win.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
lost so much money in bets. I thought the Generals were due.
Yeah, they gotta win one game.
Yeah, I mean, it's been decades. It's gotta happen. Get your act together, Generals!
Well, they did lose their coach a few decades back, so.
Go ahead, he was clearly a bad coach.
Yeah. But they kept him. I think he set a record for longest tenure of a head coach.
The Marvel Superhero Squad.
I actually kind of like that show.
I did love that show. It was interesting. But, they just threw whatever Marvel characters together. It was basically the Avengers, but they threw in a lot of characters that were never part of the Avengers from time to time.
That's not true. Every character's been...
Okay, yeah.
Every Marvel character's been a member of the Avengers at some point.
I guess so.
Almost.
Well, from one particular episode, there was another team that I enjoyed. The All Captains Squad. All Captains team.
Captain America, Captain Marvel.
It was it was specifically nationality.
Oh, okay.
They had Captain
Captain-
America,
Captain
Captain Britain,
Yes.
Captain Brazil.
Captain Brazil.
Oh yeah, she was a samba dancer.
Yeah.
That also, other stuff, but background in samba dancing. Captain Liechtenstein. He was like a really short dude. He's like, I'm small but independently wealthy. And then at that point, Wolverine was having issues with the squad, and was like, "Well, why don't you come my team as Captain Canada?" And so Wolverine was Captain Canada at that time, and it was fun.
Yeah, they couldn't use Captain Canuck. That's already licensed.
But yeah, Captain Liechtenstein,
I'm so independently prosperous.
independently prosperous.
Yeah, well,
his-
Liechtenstein is a small independent country by Switzerland.
His suit, his costume consisted of retractable skis in his boots, and the ski guidepost
Yeah,
things that he
yeah.
also was like, okay, why not?
Oh, okay. So comedy teams. There's a team, I think they're called Section 8. That includes heroes like Dog Welder, who's a psychopath who welds dead dogs to villains' faces. And there's one guy whose superpowers he can open his like stomach, and it's so revulsive to see his inside. They're a parody of Liefeldian heroes.
Yeah.
I didn't remember any. I just love Dog Welder.
He's the one that stands out. I mean,
What's he?
Well, DC actually had this team.
yeah. They exist.
Yeah, their leader was a guy, I forget his name, but his power was he could drink constantly without actually getting drunk.
That's a terrible power. Why would you even want to drink if you're not going to get wasted? Alcohol tastes like warm vomit.
Yeah. But, when there's something strange in the neighborhood, who are you gonna call?
The Mythbusters?
Local police? Yeah. But no, of course I meant the Ghostbusters. Not sure if they count as a super team, but
they
you
have
know what.
they have unique uniforms and special weapons.
set.
Yeah.
Special weapons. They count as much as anyone, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fun. Oh, little known, I think, Marvel villain team, since we were desperate in mentioning villain teams. The Circus of Crime.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Circus
yeah.
of Crime.
They were
Where Hawkeye
actually,
got to start.
they were actually pretty good though.
Yeah, just little known now. No one's, you know.
Yeah.
What was that?
The Ringmaster.
Ringmaster.
Yes, he would hypnotize everyone who came to the show because he had this thing on his hat that would spin and hypnotize them. Turns out he was actually he had psionic abilities.
Yeah,
That
the
thing on the
spinning
hat
thing was
just
unnecessary.
yeah, it was a gimmick because he would hypnotize or at least reach out and incapacitate beyond the show everyone in the town the circus was visiting.
Oh,
And then the circus crew would just go through and pillage, plunder, loot, take everything.
oh, back in the day when villain teams were just about getting money from
Yeah.
places instead of being world-breaking threats. Anyway,
Yeah, they just wanted the money.
halfway through his explanation, I suddenly remembered the Headmasters.
The Headmasters.
Also,
yeah.
also Marvel. The whole thing was every member of this villain team had something about their heads.
That's a stupid idea. That's a terrible idea.
It
That's
was.
a terrible gimmick.
It was a terrible gimmick. The one that stands out the most was the lady whose head was completely replaced by this completely sphere supercomputer.
Ruby,
Was,
Ruby Tuesday.
Ruby Tuesday. Yes, that was her name.
Okay. Was the leader part of this team?
Maybe, I don't remember.
He should have been.
Because it had something to do with his head.
Well, there was one. I think he was man-ape or something because he was a human head grafted onto a gorilla's body.
Oh yeah, that was one of them.
And Chandu the Mystic, he turned himself into a demon, except for his head. So a human head, demon body. Although he did grow a few horns.
No, okay.
And there was one, well, this didn't have to do with his head.
It
but-
is a stupid gimmick though, you're right.
Yeah, he was called Shrunken Bones because he managed some kind of weird medical experiment on himself. He shrunk his bones. So his skin was all wrinkled and
That's
everything.
horrifying.
Because his skeleton was smaller than the rest of his body.
I failed to mention that the other thing about the Headmasters were they were all freaks.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
jeez.
were grotesque looking
But yes,
except Tuesday. But yeah.
you're right though. The leader and MODOK should have been part of this group.
Yeah.
Like a frost giant's head on an infant's body.
But then again, if you were throwing around the leader and MODOK to raise their star value,
Yeah.
the leader and MODOK are better served other places than these
Yeah.
friggin' Headmasters.
Yeah.
So I've got another team. This is out of nowhere. I don't remember what they're called, but the Defenders of the City. From the Tech,
Oh, okay.
with American Made, the world's most patriotic domestic, Deflator Mouse, and Sewer Urchin.
Ah, yes.
No, I thought it was sewer urchin.
Sewer urchin.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the Deflator Mouse, who's Batman, but super cowardly.
Yes.
And of course, the Tick and Arthur.
They had so many great characters in the Tick universe.
I like Captain Lemming.
Captain
Splat! Oh, spine work with me!
the Human Bullet and Fire Me Boy.
Oh yes, forgot about the Human Bullet and Fire Me Boy. And it's exactly what it sounds like. He's got a
He put
giant...
on his helmet, he'd grab inside a cannon, and he'd tell his son, "Fire me, boy!"
They would just shoot him at the problem.
He'd get to the problem sooner than anybody else. He'd be knocked out because of the
Or half the time he ended up missing slightly and making more damage.
Yeah.
I mean, the Tick and Arthur... Well, no, American Made was pretty badass.
Well,
But American Made, Tick and Arthur were the only three who really
did
were
anyway.
worth anything.
But
And
other,
then Big Shot.
other villain team, the Serpent Society.
Oh yeah, Super Society's not a bad team.
Yeah, they're actually pretty good.
That's not a stupid team, Josh. We're on stupid teams now.
Okay, I guess I can't mention AIM or Hydra.
No, you can't, Josh.
Because
'Cause
they're
AIM's
organizations like
AIM-
SHIELD.
Because AIM kicks ass, and we can't mention AIM. AIM is all. I like AIM.
Yeah.
Led by MODOK.
When
Well,
not,
actually, one
when
faction
not
of
led
them
by
is.
the Scientist Supreme, and it's like AIM is either led by MODOK or the Scientist Supreme, depending on where we are right now in AIM's history.
Yeah, because I remember when they were split into two factions.
Yeah, because they disagreed.
Well, they disagree on. All they do is build super weapons for criminals.
Yeah, I think it was the manner in which they were doing that. MODOK and the Scientist Supreme had different goals.
I like but on the other one, Hydra. I like Hydra. Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, AIM used to be the R&D version of Hydra.
Yeah. They
But
all
then they split off from Hydra, then they split in half.
Well,
so-
Hydra specifically wants to conquer the world.
Yes.
And Hydra has a lot of power players like the Red Skull, Grim Reaper, Baron von Strucker,
Yeah.
Arlem Zola. He was the weird computer dude I was thinking of.
Oh yeah, he put his brain in a computer, and so.
Well, actually, he
besides
had a
having
little
the screen.
He had a
face.
Yeah. Well, actually, Arnim Zola in Marvel continuity, he was a geneticist,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a spatially engineered body he made for himself.
The point is, screen face.
Yep.
He was the first and most terrifying of the Teletubbies.
There's a superhero team for you, the Teletubbies.
The Powerpuff Girls.
The Powerpuff Girls is a good one. And their villain team, the Gangrene Gang.
At least one of them. Except for that one episode where he had the Beat-Alls.
Oh yeah.
They basically put
Well,
all the top.
And then of course there's the Rowdy Rough Boys,
The Rowdy Roughs. Yeah.
made from Snips and Snails and Puppy Dog Tails, and Chemical X.
Yep.
But the trick is you have to accidentally add Chemical X. If you do it on purpose, it comes out wrong.
And, Rowdy Rough was actually evidence of that. Because Mojo kind of did it sort of purposefully.
Yeah.
And he only was able to keep them from exploding after him did hellish stuff
Yeah.
to them to fix the problem.
How about going back in time, some old groups? Like when we saw the Teen Titans Go movie. They actually dusted off the Challengers of the Unknown.
That's the Challengers of the Unknown.
Josh didn't even know who they were.
I did.
They were so far back in DC history.
And then looking back at them, they are actually kind of interesting. Because they're just a bunch of scientists, mostly. They got in a freak accident that they actually survived, but feel that
They survived a plane crash.
Yeah, it was a freak. You think
Yeah.
a plane crash isn't a freak accident, but they survived, and they feel that they shouldn't have. They're now on borrowed time.
Oh, okay.
So they now, because they're on borrowed time, they were going to make the most of what time they had left, because they're going to die.
Do you?
So they tackled all these unusual situations and stuff.
Do you remember they tried to give the Blackhawks superpowers?
I did not know.
I
they
cannot
tried to
remember
do
all.
that.
No, it was very short-lived because people hated it. But one of them became the Listener. His costume had a bunch of ears on it, and his power was super hearing.
That's
sad.
Then, then you wonder why it was a short-lived series.
Oh, there's a lot of forgettable cannon fodder in this group, but it's still a superhero team. And a famous one. The Green Lantern Corps.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We know a lot of the headliners.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, especially Kilowog. He's
Yeah,
there.
everybody likes Kilowog.
Oh, what was the squirrel? Squeaks? What the heck is
Chip.
it? Chip. Is the yeah. The one bird guy I forget the name of, but bird alien dude.
I'm not familiar with the Green Lantern Corps.
But yeah,
well, there's the Red Lantern Corps.
there's the Red Lantern Corps.
Although most people only care about 2 members of the Red Lantern Corps.
It's very similar to the Sinestro Corps, to be perfectly honest.
Except, as I've read, you can't take a Red Lantern ring off under pain of death.
Makes sense.
If you take it off, it kills you.
Yeah. Trust this will have no desertion.
So trust this, and who's the other famous member of the Red Lantern Corps?
Well, there's Dexstar.
Yeah, Dexter.
Yeah.
The angriest cat on
Oh,
earth.
yeah.
I love Dexter. So since we're going back in time, it's not that far back, but their characters go far back. Do you remember the Defenders of the Earth?
Defenders, King Comics. Where you
Yeah.
had Flash Gordon, the Phantom, and it was like Lothar the Strong Man, and Mandrake the Magician.
Had one of the best theme songs ever.
Yeah. Well, especially, even though they said, we'll have young ward characters
Yeah, that
in
was
training.
that wasn't great, but the Defenders of the Earth.
Yeah, they
Defenders of the Earth. There's a comet coming.
That's honestly beyond our pay grade, except maybe Gordon getting in some ship and doing something.
Yeah. But yeah, they had some of the best heroes there and the best villain,
Ming the Merciless.
Flash's old nemesis.
You'd think they'd be able to dust off any of the others reoccurring villains, but did they have any?
Phantom mostly fought pirates.
Yeah.
I think
And
there's
just bad guy. Yeah,
I think there's a pirate he clashed with
Often.
often, but I'm not sure that he'd have anyone that you'd call like a true
And I don't
arch
think
nemesis.
Mandrake or Lothar had any reoccurring villains.
I don't know much about Mandrake outside of Defenders of the Earth. Defenders.
Oh, he was a guy. He was kind of like the Shadow. He had this power to hypnotize people.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew he is from Defenders of the Earth.
Yeah. And
His bodyguard Lothar.
yeah,
Oh, he did have an arch villain, a gang lord called Killing.
But let's face it, the villain's Ming.
Oh, of course the villain's Ming.
It's like, I guess they had no one else worthy to throw up against them.
Who else has an army?
That's true. Let's see.
I think I'm basically out at this point.
I think we're out of most
I think I'm just out of hero teams to even talk about.
hero and villain.
Yeah.
We're kind of done.
I mean, even we were dusting off the challengers of the unknown.
Yes.
Oh! Captain America's first superhero team. Do you remember what it was called?
Is the Invaders?
That's
No.
the one.
Or was the Invaders before? The
Yeah.
All Winter Squad?
Oh, there was the All-Winter Squad.
That
too,
was
yeah.
DC.
I feel like Captain America led like the All Winter Squad or something like
It
that.
had Whizzer in the group. Whatever
And the
it was.
Human Torch that was a robot.
Yeah, the
An
android.
android.
human.
Yeah.
Well, what? Maybe.
Because I
Oh
thought.
yeah, Timely Comics, Marvel. It was called Timely back
Yeah.
then. Yeah, I think they had a World War II era super group that
Yeah.
may have been called that, but Captain America wasn't a member. He was doing solo
I know he
stuff
had
in his own book. And then in the 60s or 70s, they made him leader of the Invaders.
I knew he was part of the Invaders, but I swore that in World War II he had a team that was him, Bucky, the Human Torch, the weird
Wizard.
Wizard probably was part of it. There was a girl called like Golden Girl or something. And then the Human Torch's sidekick like Taru or whatever. Toro.
Ah.
They were both members of the Invaders with him. The Invaders were him, Bucky, Android Human Torch, and Toro, Submariner, and then they had a couple of Brits, Union Jack and Spitfire.
The team I'm thinking of didn't have Namor, but I remember reading about it in my Marvel Encyclopedia. I could have swore it was called the All Winter Squad, which is just a terrible name for a team.
Well, they did have a team on stateside during World War II. The Wizard was part of that, and they had a female member called Miss America, who was a gymnast turned hero, basically. Her and the Wizard, they later got married. And those are the only ones I can remember.
What's the name of Marvel's team that's the parody of the Justice League?
Isn't that the Squadron Supreme?
Yeah,
That's
Squadron
them.
Supreme. Hyperion and was it Dr. Prism?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was. It was Dr.
Nighthawk.
Nighthawk.
Yeah.
Power Princess? Is that
I
the name
believe-
of
I
one
believe
of
it's
those
Power
counterparts?
Princess.
Yes, that was their resident Amazon. They didn't have the Atom, they had Tom Thumb.
Yes, they did have Tom Thumb.
He was a little person and a super genius inventor. And let's see.
Do you remember the original, the Golden Age of the Atom? He was just short and a good boxer.
Well, everyone just punched bad guys with
And
very
dressed,
low powers.
I think he actually dressed in like a knight's helmet and an outfit that looked like a toga.
Probably.
Or not a knight's helmet, it looked like a Roman centurion's helmet.
Probably. They were still figuring things out in the Golden Age.
Yeah, that was when and where they introduced Wildcat. Ted Grant, one of the best boxers you're ever going to meet.
He's
What-
trained like half of the DC fighters.
Yeah, and originally his original backstory was, like I said, great boxer. The mob got in touch with his manager, said, "Yeah, we want your boy to start throwing fights for us."
I'm pretty much done with teams unless you guys can think
And they said no way, so they killed his manager, and he went after him.
Ugh.
Met Batman along the way.
Hi, bud.
I got no more ideas.
Yes.
Yeah,
We're probably
I
running out of
guess-
time.
yeah,
So.
well-
I've got one more.
Mhm.
Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestlers.
Oh yeah. So of course, if this video doesn't reach 6,000 likes, I'm gonna eat this cat. I'm gonna do it. Better click the like button.
Yeah, what are you sure? Ian loves cats, he just can't eat a whole one by himself.
I might have to portion it out. Put some in the fridge for later. You wanna go back? You wanna go take a nap? You look tired. Go ahead.
Well, sure.
So we're scraping the bottom here, folks. I guess
think
this is we're done.
Goodbye,
We're out.
everybody. Goodbye, everybody.